Skoda's first volume production full electric car, the Enyaq iV, uses Volkswagen Group EV technology to good effect. Based around the Wolfsburg conglomerate's advanced MEB electrified platform, it sets new standards for the brand in terms of quality, but the old attributes of value and practicality remain. Take cost, range and space into account, and this is a difficult package to better in the segment for mid-sized crossover EVs.
You ease away in an Enyaq rather than needing to moderate the kind of frantic forward thrust which does seem more normal in an electric vehicle these days. That doesn't really suit any two-ton SUV, and it certainly wouldn't suit this Skoda, the relaxed drive dynamics of which, it's immediately clear, are geared towards lowering the heart rate rather than raising it, which of course maximises drive range. It's quoted at 256 miles for this 62 kilowatt hour Enyaq iV60 model, the one that most customers choose. It uses a 180 PS rear mounted electric motor. The range is 326 miles if you go for the larger 82 kilowatt hour battery of the alternative Enyaq iV80 model, which has a 204 PS rear mounted motor, but which can also be had in all-wheel drive form with an extra front mounted motor, and that boosts power to either 256 or 299 PS, and that depends on your selection between the ATX and VRS versions available in that format. Most Enyaqs, though, will be rear-driven and rear motor, a format not seen on Skoda since the brand's budget models of the 60s and 70s, and one that benefits this car enormously in town, where it offers an impressively tight 10.2 metre turning circle. Beyond the city limits, traction is impressive, but there's a bit more body roll through the turns than you'd get with the alternative Volkswagen, Cupra and Audi versions of this same VW Group design. The payoff for that, though, is a much better standard of ride, with suppleness over poor surfaces and speed humps, which is quite honestly unbettered in this class and is far superior to most rivals. Charging for the 60 series model takes 9 hours 30 minutes to 100% using a 7.4 kilowatt garage wall box. It'll be 12 hours 45 minutes for the 80 series version. Find a 100 kilowatt public rapid charger and you can replenish either variant from 10 to 80% in about 34 minutes. We're told that the look of this car is bold, futuristic and immediately recognisable as a Skoda. Well, that rather depends on what you expect a Skoda to be. It's safe to say that until quite recently, this isn't the kind of thing you'd expect to find in one of the Czech makers' showrooms. We're now in a new era, though, one enthusiastically embraced here by Oliver Stefani's design team, who set out to create a powerfully elegant, full electric family SUV. It certainly makes a statement here at the front. Now, a grille may be unnecessary to cool an EV, but modern automotive design looks ugly without it. And with this hexagonal appendage, flanked by angular LED headlights, Skoda's gone all out. It's from the side that you realise the Enyaq is a larger, slightly more upmarket thing than, say, a Nissan Leaf or a Kia e-Niro. The near 4.7 metre length positions it closer in size to Skoda's spacious Octavia, and the wheels, between 19 and 21 inches in size, the largest ever fitted as standard to a Skoda, remind you that this is the VW Group's Czech alternative to an ID4, not an ID3. A bit like its cousin, the Audi Q4 e-tron, this Skoda is available both in this conventional form and also with a separate body style offering a slightly sportier silhouette. In that sportback style, it's called the Enyaq Coupe. A closer glance at the rear reveals why the more swept-back option was needed. This conventional version would look quite practical and boxy if it were not for the way that this tailgate's framed by this matte black roof spoiler. Enough with the outside, let's take a look in the cabin. And this is going to be nothing like anything you'll ever have experienced in a Skoda before, either in terms of quality or design. For a start, you're left pleasantly confused as to exactly what kind of car this actually is, thanks to the way that the slightly raised seating height of a crossover has been somehow combined with a windscreen which pushes so far forward that you'd think you were in a big MPV. Then there's the dashboard, which is unusually contoured in a series of layers. It's all really very upmarket, yet combustion engined converts will feel instantly at home, with none of the rather weird and futuristic trimming and design flourishes that are championed by some rivals in this segment. Otherwise, once you've worked out that the start button is actually hidden down here on the steering column and that the transmission is marshalled by this tiny button between the seats, your first impressions of this cabin are going to be centered around its screen technology. Now, the Enyaq iV ignores the current trend for portrait center displays, but this 13-inch landscape-orientated monitor is still fashionably big. Nor, thankfully, has Skoda been tempted to follow the Tesla trend for mounting driving instruments onto it. These sit instead in a conventionally binnacled colour screen that you view through this steering wheel here. What else? Well, the seats are just as good as they look too. They're generously proportioned and they're very supportive. And there's loads of storage space thanks to this vast open 11.4 litre area below the lower centre console, deep carpeted door bins and this big 6.2 litre stowage box between the seats. So let's head rearwards and check out what's in store for those on the back seat. Get settled in back here, and as usual in a Skoda you'll find legroom that's difficult to better in the segment. 2 6-footers could sit comfortably behind a couple of front seat occupants of the same size. This is also a wider cabin than you might expect a mid-sized SUV to be able to provide, and with no central transmission tunnel here to obstruct things, 3 adults could actually fit reasonably easily into the back of this car. We're going to finish with a look at the boot, which, by the way, you'll have to use for all significant cargo storage because, unlike some other rival EVs in this class, there's no extra luggage room in the nose of the car. That's taken up by the air conditioning system and the power electrics for the driveline. Once everything's raised up here at the back, a big 585 litre space is revealed, despite the presence of an electric motor under the floor here, which eliminates the possibility of having the usual underfloor central storage area, or of course any kind of spare wheel. You do, though, get this deep, narrow well beneath the cargo base's leading edge into which the charging leads can just about be stored. Once the rear bench is retracted, there's up to 1,710 litres of capacity up to roof height. For us, the Enyaq iV represents a sweet spot in the family EV market, or at least it does in this Enyaq iV 60 form. In this guise, your EV buying or leasing proposition is super-sized. The kind of money that would normally get you something family hatch-shaped, here gets you a car sized more closely to models in the pricier class above. A Volkswagen ID4 sized model for the price of a little ID3, you might say. And you won't be too far wrong. Skoda's certainly made very good use of that same German engineering here, although it is annoying that the drive modes and the adjustable brake regeneration pedal systems which come with it are absent here, unless you pay extra or you choose the bigger battery. A typical Skoda customer might not mind that though, or the rather relaxed way that this car goes about its business on the road. The Enyaq iV is supposed to open up a fresh era for this Czech maker, and perhaps it does. Future EVs from this brand may well be a little more Skoda-like, but this one sets a trend we hope those forthcoming models will follow, that of offering more for less. It's an approach which has characterised this company for as long as we can remember, and we're pleased it's being continued here. More importantly though, we think you will too.